Hi, I'm Umbreon Libris, and welcome to another Mystery Pokemon Design Challenge. In this series, I have members of my community give me Pokédex entries, and I try to come up with a fakemon based on them without knowing what the original Pokemon was. It's an exercise in creature design and an opportunity for me to practice my official art imitation and to test my Pokemon knowledge since I try to figure out what the original Pokemon was as I go. These are the two Dex entries I was given this time. By pruning the leaves on its head with regularity, this Pokemon can be grown into a fine, plump shape. Although the leaves on its head are bitter enough to cause dizziness, they provide relief from weariness, even more so when boiled. That was a tough start. It felt like a fairly generic grass-type Pokemon, like it didn't give me enough information to come up with something unique. I even had a few guesses right off the bat, like Oddish, because Oddish tea felt like a familiar idea. I also thought it might be Chikorita, but I was wrong. It was neither of those or anything in their families. I had to check because I feel like if I figure out the original Pokemon too quickly, like before I even start to do any sketches, I'm gonna be too biased by that. And so I just asked for one more Dex entry, something to just give me a little bit more to go on, and this is what I got. It appears around sources of clean water. Boiling leaves from this Pokemon's head results in a liquid that's sometimes used as a bug repellent. That's still not very much, but it is something. This is a Pokemon that has leaves on its head that can be pruned and used for tea or bug repellent, and it has an affinity for water. So I did some research, and I found the perfect thing to base this Pokemon on. Mint. Mint isn't bitter, but it does have a very strong flavor, and it can be used for tea, for medicinal purposes, and for bug repellent. And mint gets its name from a figure from Greek mythology, Minty. Minty was a nymph from the river Cocytus, also known as the River of Wailing, which was one of the rivers on the outskirts of Hades, the Greek underworld. Apparently, Minty was a lover of Hades from before he kidnapped Persephone, and she thought she was better than Persephone, and so Persephone transformed her into the plant, mint. Anyway, all of that helps to give more layers to the concept to make it more interesting. So now we've also got a water nymph, so a bit of a feminine element, but also crying or wailing, and an association with death. And I think that that's plenty for us to work with. There's a long tradition of small round Pokemon with leaves on their heads, and I think I just naturally fell into that as well. But I wanted to make it a bit more unique, so I tried giving it a stem and a leaf collar. But that didn't work too well. I guess there's a reason for that long tradition. In the end, I gave it Cleffa-like limbs to be really cute. It has tear markings under its eyes. I considered making them more like Sobbles, but decided to go with something less derivative. The leaves are spiky to reflect the serrated edges on mint leaves, and they're going to have alternating colors just to look a bit more unique. By the way, you may have noticed I was a lot more direct with working out the design here, and that's because I did a lot more sketching on paper than for previous fakemon in this series. I find it a lot easier to brainstorm on paper than on the computer, and obviously I can't record that, but if you wish that you could see more of the really early sketches, let me know. I'll see what I can do about that for future videos. For the evolution, I had some conflicting thoughts, because just like there's a tradition of small round Pokemon with leaves on their heads, there is also a tradition of plant Pokemon, so not grass types in general, but specifically the ones that are more strictly based on plants, becoming very humanoid and very heavily female-coded as they evolve. And I didn't want to go down that route, I wanted to do something more different. But at the same time, the nymph Minty was part of the concept, and so I had to find that balance for it to be feminine without being explicitly coded as a humanoid female. Which is why I focused on making its body very stem-like, and I didn't give it legs. The leaves still kind of suggest arms and a skirt or dress, but I tried not to make it too obvious. I really struggled with the leaf at the lower back though. I had a hard time getting the angle to look right, and I'm pretty much just gonna keep adjusting it until the very end. On the face, the eyes are meant to look more dead, and these stripes are meant to represent tears streaming down the face. Although I haven't drawn them yet, it'll also have dark circles around the eyes, meant to look like, well, dark circles, and eyes that are sunken from grief. The big fluff at the top, even though it looks a lot like Eldegoss or Jumpluff, is based on the flowers of mint plants, more specifically the water mint. For the colors, I went with a cool green for the leaves, with a bluer green for the chevron patterns, and a purplish color for the body to reference the color that water mint stems sometimes have. And there! I'm really happy with how these turned out. The designs are a bit simple, but I think the concepts have enough depth, and I think I did them justice. As usual, more workshopping probably would have been good. I only had my wife's feedback for this, although she had some great ideas. This design owes a lot to her. In the process of figuring out this Pokemon's design, I think I also figured out which Pokemon's Pokédex entries I was working from. My final guess is Petilil. Maybe Lilligant, but I'm pretty sure it's Petilil. Alright, got it again! That's 2 out of 3 that I've guessed, not that I'm keeping score or anything.
But if you were...
Let me know what you think of these two Pokemon and what you would name them. I've just been referring to them as Minty, but this isn't Cardcaptor Sakura, so we'll probably need something better. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you to my patrons for their support, especially luxury patron Ethan from Chicago. It all really means a lot to me. I'm Umbreon Libris. I'll see you in the next chapter. This is a Pokemon that has leaves on its head that can be pruned and used for tea or...
Wow.